would just so want to wear a different t-shirt, and I can't pull it over this here. Hi, how you doing? I came down at least a little bit prepared for this. Midnight Charlie Man, Patrick, thanks for tuning in. It's Saturday the 9th of March 2024. I have pre-prepared a little bit because what happened was over the last 2 weeks now I've been revisiting the Friday the 13th series. I've actually watched it through again from part 4 onwards. Part 4, which I thought was very good. Now, what was it, the one before? I'm going to comment today on Jason Takes Manhattan. I watched that just the other night. I watched that, and before that I watched part 7, which is the girl which she's able to move objects, and if she focuses quite intensely, she can make things happen and move things with her mind. It was okay. And the one before that, when the guy says he digs up Jason's grave. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You know, watching it through for the second time, I'm just it's quite rough around the edges. Actually, the acting is quite rough around the edges, and I have to continually remind myself, Pat, you're watching a Jason movie. But what I wanted to do is actually Jason Takes Manhattan. Where are my glasses? Jason Takes Manhattan, because it was kind of actually it was fun, and it's fun to actually enjoy all the bad acting, and I continually remind myself, this is a Jason movie. What do I expect? In fact, I thought that is it Kane Hodder? Did he play Jason in the 6th installment? Not the one with the girl who did things to the mind, but the one before that. Because whoever played Jason in 7, 6, in chapter 6, is it the final chapter? Not sure. His mannerisms and his character, his body movements were very good. Now, but it wasn't the same for Jason Takes Manhattan. I did still enjoy Jason Takes Manhattan. I was able to look past all the sort of one-dimensional acting. In fact, I felt very entertained by I sit back there's part anxiety. It's like, you know, revisiting the glorious 80s and 1989, the glorious 80s. Watching Mark Rickman, he might not still be with us. Watching Mark Rickman, who played the uncle, the very, very strict uncle, who said you have to do things my way. It's not my way. You do it my way. But what are you talking about? It's a lot of nonsense. Keep going about Jason being alive. There's a lot of nonsense. Jason's alive. For goodness sake. Anyway. He did such a one-dimensional job of it's such a pity that, let me take these off. That's fading. I didn't bring the other. That should be totally charged. It is such a pity that the director. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch it again with the director's commentary, because I want to know what was on the director's mind and what he was thinking about at the time. It's such a pity that the director didn't say. I'll put this down for a moment. Didn't direct the acting more. I think what the director might have done was just knew what he wanted to take place in the scenes, and he got that done. And still considering it's a 1989 movie, you know, the level of acting isn't great. Okay, it's very one-dimensional, right? So he could have pushed his actors further, could have pushed them further, or was it just that it was a horror movie and he just wanted to get it done and wasn't overly fussed about the acting, because the acting is it isn't great, but it crosses that line and it becomes entertaining to watch because the acting is subpar, but very much in line with acting in horror movies in 1989, because that's what you get from that's what you get from 1980s horror, which is very, very different to 1970s horror. Now, watching Mark Rachman, watching him was actually entertaining, because I mean, I would have just directed him completely differently. First, I would have gotten him to relax a lot more and not being one-dimensional, which is what he was. And everything that he says is an over-exaggeration of everything. And it's like, wow, you know, this director, who's the director? That's right, whoever's directing this, couldn't they just pull him up and say, here, look, just gotta want you to be a bit more, you know, a bit, something to relate. Maybe not say I want you to be a bit more relaxed, but do something that would relax him further. The African American guy in it with the who says, I only need this gun. I thought that he was, and he has at the end when he has the boxing match with Jason, I thought that he was quite good. And the girl with the guitar at the beginning, it would have been nice if she had stayed on longer, because I thought she was also quite good. All of the acting, it's, well, now in retrospect, you can say, yeah, very 80s. Not greatly well done at all. And also, I'm going to give it. I'm getting the hairstyles. The 1980s hairstyles, love them. They're terrific. They're so cringeworthy that they're great. Cringeworthy at the same time. I kind of like them. Ooh, let's see what's going on here, shall we? Now, Martin Cummings. He's the one who played the filmmaker. Yes, he's the one who played the filmmaker. And Saffron Henderson. She's the guitar girl. What else do we have going on here? Kane Hodder. How many Friday the 13th movies has he played Jason in? Because he's actually quite good. The film for me is in two parts. Because I cannot get past the fantastic acting, I'm being very sarcastic, yes, of Mark Rachman. My goodness. I don't know what he's been like. I've seen him in other films. I've seen him in other films in years gone by, yesteryear, but he played his part so rigidly one-dimensional that it was like, gave me a bit of anxiety every time he talked. I'm like, I wouldn't have directed him like that. I wouldn't have done it like that. I would have done something that made him relax, and then I would have got him. I would have just had him underacting it all. But I suppose that ends up then. It just ends up being classic Friday the 3rd, that era. You know, we have our adventure on the ship. Okay, we have our adventure on the ship, and Jason just happens. Jason now has what sort of semi-supernatural. He has a supernatural strength. He has this and speed. Because the kid is climbing up the, mast of the ship, up the pole, right? They're climbing up there, and you think they're home free, and he's just walking, and next thing you know, Jason's up there. What I really like when we get to Manhattan. That's terrific when we get to Manhattan, and then Jason, he gets to the dock, and it's like he got there pretty quickly, didn't he? Pretty quickly. And also, Jason has a moral sense about him. Moral sense, like, when those guys who are taking heroin, and when that girl is in that very bad situation, Jason comes to the rescue. He comes to the rescue. So he has a bit of that. There's a bit of morals going on there. A bit of he, what do you call it? Good social status standing. Good. He helped her out in that situation. What is it about the Friday? Because when I'm actually, and there's a few not so great ones in there, what is it about the Friday the 13th movies that I wanted to look at them again? Because I'm watching them and I'm thinking, oh, I would have directed this really differently, but then I suppose they wouldn't be what they are today. And when on set, did the director push any of them acting wise, or was he on a certain budget and he just wanted to get the job done and move on? I wonder if that's how it was. But also, again, back in that era, on the psychology of things, the philosophy of things, was back then, was that considered good acting? Give it your all, full on intensity. I want full on intensity. I mean, when it was being done, was it considered pretty good? Was it considered good? In retrospect, when we look back on it, quite rough around the edges actually. And as I'm watching these movies, it's my gosh, it's like, oh, why am I watching this? It's kind of entertaining. What else more? I enjoyed the sewer part of. I enjoyed the sewer underneath New York, the sewer. Of course, at the end, when it can't lift the grid thing, the drain grid thing, so the water doesn't. The water only gets Jason. The sewer, the toxic waste only gets Jason. And of course, it only gets Jason, and it's. I thought Jason's I thought his face was better in part 4. I think we do get to see it briefly in Jason Takes Manhattan. I didn't think it was as impactful. I thought the best one we saw was, what is it? Number 4? Yeah, number 4. Alright, so I half intended to talk about The Bride of Frankenstein, but I might watch that again because Jason Takes Manhattan was fresher on mind. I just thought I'd talk about it. I'm suddenly a bit low on energy, but pretty. Jason Takes Manhattan. I loved the New York scenes, and the rat, the rat in the barrel, and I really enjoy movies that take place on cruise ships for some. I would never go on a cruise. I'm anti-cruise. But I really love movies that take place on cruise ships and then focus on just a particular group of people. Yes. Other aspects of, and there's so many opposite things happening, like when the girl goes overboard and the guy finally goes in to get her, and then she comes up and then the uncle comes out and just doesn't recognise or acknowledge anything that's happening in that situation, completely dismisses it, makes his own one-dimensional judgment, and that's it. And when that takes place in a movie, I find that I get in two minds about it. That I'm like, I would direct this, and I would direct it completely differently. I'd probably change some of the script as well. And at the same time, I'm like, well, it's 1980s horror. It is what it is. And what was their motivation at the time? Were they just trying to get the scene done so that they can move on to the next scene, or did they think that they were doing something quite special, and that they were the philosophical ideas at the time? And so there was a certain philosophical idea in people's minds in that era, and so that's kind of how people thought about certain things and handled the situation. They would handle it like that, because as we move on with things, our perspective changes. But there's lots of little bits of character in the movie. There's lots of little bits of character. A lot of it's cringeworthy. Some of it's interesting. Some of it's a little bit fascinating. Some of it's a little bit fascinating. Because I'm like, only because I would do things totally differently. I wouldn't do it like that. I wouldn't have directed it like that. And we see hints of Jason. When something bad happens to a character through another character, Jason usually goes after that character. But Jason's good intended side. I'd love to make a movie where you just explore Jason in that sense. That side of his character gets explored more. And I suppose the feminine, more sympathetic qualities. Because as I was watching it last night, I was thinking I would have done this entirely differently, completely differently. And as I'm watching a movie, as I'm watching some of these movies, I rewrite the script in my head. Sometimes I do that. I rewrite the script. Now, the colours and the aesthetics of Jason Takes Manhattan, I enjoyed those. I enjoy all those components of 1980s movies. I really like the disco girl. She goes into the disco. I like how Jason has a still composure. He is still. He manages to be still, and I think that's an asset to him. I think that's quite good. It's quite impactful when Jason doesn't do anything. He just stands there. And Kane Hodder, it's actually really good. It's really good how he does that. Really good. Yes. Okay. I'm going to conclude. Okay. Do you like? Do I ripped the back of it by accident. This arrived in the mail, I don't know, 4 days ago, probably a week ago, and I went to open it, didn't realise it was sealed, put a bit of pressure on there and ripped it over 1 centimetre, rendering it useless, worthless. Because I was going to get a refund on it, but I thought it was a gimmick, but now it's got to hold on to it now. Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Okay. So, right. Concluding. Thanks for watching. I appreciate comments down below. and because these Friday the 13th movies became a staple. They became a part of movies' popular culture. In the 90s, they did part of it. They were part of the popular culture. Do they stand test of time? Well, no. I think Kane Hodder and the other people who played Jason stand out well. They brought a lot of character to Jason, gave him humour. I'm really not into people just being killed for the hell of it in the movies. I'm totally against that. Just being killed for the hell of it with no real motivation behind it. So therefore, the Jason character has to have some elements to him that will be human. That will be good to have some humour in there, a little bit of comedy in there. And so you've got to have that, because really Jason's just going around killing. Well, he has the mother issues, yes, and he had that tragedy that happened to him. But somehow in the series they don't quite deal with that at all. And there could be a movie that actually deals completely with therapy for him, because he does understand certain things. He's actually kind of smart, and he knows certain things in a situation, like how to rip the cords out of it, how to shut off the electricity, and how to do this and how to do that. So he has some intelligence going there, which is interesting. Alright, concluding. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, thank you, thanks for watching.